You're listening to the Reinvest Podcast, where each Tuesday we show business owners and entrepreneurs how to diversify into real estate by equipping you with the tools and tactics to build generational wealth. Your hosts, Garrett Gatton and Seth Ciminillo.
All right, welcome back to the studio. We ended up inadvertently taking a month off, and now we're back. So for all those that have been wondering, yes, we are still here. We are still at it. This last month's been crazy for our business, and a lot of stuff going on there, but it's been good. The growth has been a good pain. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but we are here back in the studio. It's good to get back in the saddle. And today I wanted to bring just a shorter episode, but super tactical. And so we're going to talk about how do we get tactical and how do we get specific on how virtual assistants can actually help your business. And I would say that hiring your virtual assistant a year and a half ago has been one of the biggest game changers for my business, for my mindset, for my development, for how I think about things within my business. And I just want to share that with you. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about basically how I did it, what I did specifically, how you can replicate it, and then what kind of outcomes you could anticipate in your business. So first of all, what is a virtual assistant? At this point, most people probably have heard it. If you listen to any sort of online media, podcasts, even start reading books, they're talking about virtual assistants now in books. It's someone who is literally just virtual somewhere else in the world. It could be a virtual assistant even in America. It could be someone that's living in the United States, across the country. They're willing to work for you for $10, $11, $12 an hour, whatever the agreement is. But they could also be people from across the world. So there's virtual assistants literally all over the place. South America, Egypt, the Philippines, Eastern Europe. I mean, they're all over the place. And there are just all types of people that have all types of skills that really want to be working for your business, and they want to be working in the Western market and working for a company in the United States, and they're all over the place. And so it's anybody who's doing basically anything that can be done on a computer, a virtual assistant can do. I mean, just think of administrative tasks, marketing materials, operational support, even running a call center, things like that. Virtual assistants can be part-time, full-time, project-based. Even if you go on even some of these job-by-job sites online, you can just hire people for projects. And, essentially what you're doing is you're hiring a virtual assistant. So, I mean, if you hire someone to code a website, I mean, essentially, in a small scale, hiring a virtual assistant. So VAs aren't just for big corporations or people that, have these huge operations. It could be as simple as you running your business and you need a little bit of help. And that virtual assistant could be the game changer that will help give you the bandwidth, give you your time back, and really let you start to scale your business. And so the biggest benefits of hiring a VA is time freedom. So when I hired my virtual assistant, I was doing all the back-end stuff myself. I was doing all the social media myself, emailing, paperwork, all the tiny little 100 tasks that you don't even think about. It's just kind of on autopilot. I'm doing all those. And when you're a small business or, a solopreneur, you're the only option. You're the last line of defense. You're responsible from the morning you wake up, to the night you go to bed. And if you didn't get it done, it didn't get done. Now, when I hired a virtual assistant, I didn't even know what kind of tasks I should be handing over, how to hand them over. But once I kind of step back and spent some time on figuring out, okay, how do I delegate my time? How do I delegate these tasks and elevate my time? Is when I really started to see the benefit. And so to this day, I have a virtual assistant who works for our business, and she even helps edit this podcast and gets it out there. So hello, Ruby, if you're watching this. She does all sorts of stuff for our business, critical member, and she currently probably works about 25 hours a week for us. And about 15 hours of those tasks that she does was taken directly off my plate per week. And so the impact for me specifically was I was now no longer dealing with 15 hours of stuff a week that I had to do. And it has freed up my time to go and pursue the higher dollar per hour tasks like meeting with clients, underwriting deals, managing my own rental portfolio, whatever those things are. It's allowed me to step away from those aspects of my business where I'm not very good at it. I don't really like doing it, and it can be done online. And it was able to go toward, I could put my time towards tasks that only I could do. And so time freedom is a big part. I can't stress that enough. It's cost effective. So if you get to the point where you think you need help, hiring a physical employee can get really expensive. I mean, especially if you have to put them on payroll. So virtual assistants can be really cost effective in the sense that you are dealing with a global market. And so the cost of living in other countries is not as high as it is here in the United States, and the wages and are just different from all over the place. And so someone that might need $15 an hour and just to have a livable wage in the United States, or a $20 an hour livable wage in the United States, someone that can be just as effective, just as skilled, maybe can do it between $5 and $10 in another country. And I mean, we've seen that to be true, and it helps keep things affordable for a small business, and they're not technically on payroll, and there's no payroll tax. And so it's just a little bit different way of doing things. And if you can get over the hump on learning how to do it, it's going to be a net positive. Scalability. Here's a way to scale aspects of your business without having so much overhead. So, I mean, we would definitely consider hiring another virtual assistant just for some other aspects of our business in the future. And so it kind of, once you replicate it, once you do it once and you can replicate it, it really provides a path forward on how to hire some of those critical roles that you need and keep overhead low. And then access to skills. I mean, honestly, these employees are just like any other employees. I mean, you have to look at these virtual assistants as actual employees of your business. They're not just some web application. They're not just some virtual something that you shut off. They are actual employees, and you need to treat them like employees. And so these people have skills, experiences. They've worked other jobs before. Maybe they have degrees, and they could really bring something to your team. And so, and just like any other employee that you'd hire for your company in person, it's the same thing. You're going to bring these virtual assistants on, and you're going to train them and develop them to be valued members of your team. So that's just kind of a quick overview. What is a virtual assistant at a high level, the benefits of the virtual assistant. And now I'm going to talk about how I actually went and hired my virtual assistant. To successfully hire a virtual assistant, you basically you could do the work and maybe try to vet them yourself, or you can do what I did and you pay for it. And so I used a company called Hire Train VA. So if you go to hiretrainva.com, basically you can pay them to find a pre-vetted virtual assistant who they have vetted and helped train. And basically they put them on a job board and they help show what their personality trait is. They have them take a personality test. They have them give their relevant skills. They have live interviews that you can watch with them. And then you actually get to interview them yourself and actually get to meet these people before you hire them. And so it's the best company I've seen. There are some companies that do virtual assistants and they retain control of the virtual assistant even after you hire them. And this virtual assistant might be working for one or two or three other companies. That's not how Hire VA Train works. You pay them to basically help you locate a reliable assistant. Then you basically onboard that assistant into your company, and then you control everything from there on out. So I think that's a better way to do it because you're going to get more buy-in, I think, from your virtual assistant. You're going to onboard them into your company. You're going to show them how you operate, and they're going to be a part of who you are. And you can sell them on the vision of your company and get them sold on, hey, this is what we're building to. And so that's where I went. So you can go to hiretrainva.com, spend a little bit of money, hire VA. Number two, how do you start to train these people? Well, I had to go back to the drawing board and I had to identify every single task that I was doing on the computer that I could easily delegate. And so right off the bat, there was email tasks I could easily delegate. There was social media posting. There was template creation. There was, PDF pamphlets that we make for certain properties that someone could just, it's all templates now, so they can just put in the information and the pictures. And there was all sorts of stuff like that. I started just writing down, how can I delegate this stuff? There was Facebook management for our mobile home park, creating a Facebook page, managing messages. I started writing down all these things, all these tasks. And then the hard part is like, okay, I got all this information. How do you convey it and actually train this person in a reliable way? And the very best way that I found how to train a virtual assistant is to do videos. And so I have probably 50 videos on my laptop, all of single tasks. How to fill out a property flyer template. I do a video on it, I label it, I send it to my virtual assistant and say, hey, here's how you do this. And then we have systems in the back end and checklists that tell her when to do it. And so if she ever forgets or gets stumped on something, she can always go back to that video and I don't have to re-explain and retrain. She has the content. And so it's an easy way for her to go back and get a refresher. It's an easy way for me to not have to do trainings over and over again. And then in the future, if she ever moved on and wanted to do a different job, or if we elevated her in our company to do different roles and we had to hire someone in to replace those specific tasks, again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not going to retrain or have to re-spend a bunch of time on the training materials. I've already made the training materials. And so as long as our systems, processes, and applications have not changed drastically, I can take those same videos and I can send them. And so, and I've just done that over and over and over again. We have all sorts of trainings now and that we use, and they work great. And it's the best way to communicate information, especially across time differences, time zones, all that stuff. That is the very best way I've found to train. And so you can use Zoom. You can you can do a screen recording on your computer. You can use an application called Loom, loom.com, and you can create training videos and share them with whoever you want. There's, those are probably the ones I would recommend. So that's how you hire them. That's kind of how you maybe can start delegating tasks and training them. And you can chat GPT like, hey, what tasks can I delegate to a virtual assistant? And it will kick you out just a bunch of ideas just to get your juices flowing. And then it's how do you manage them? And this is, I would say, the next biggest part after you get them trained and after you get them the information that you want them to do. And maybe after, how do you actually make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and feel like you're secure in it. And so there's a couple applications that I specifically use, and one of them is called LastPass. And there's a lot of different applications I'm having my virtual assistant get on. All sorts. I can't even name them all. There's probably 10, 20 different websites and applications that she has access to help run our business. And all those passwords are managed through a password management system, and ours is called LastPass. And that's a paid yearly subscription. It's pretty cheap, but it stores all of our passwords. I can share those with her, and I just feel secure that knowing that she doesn't have my personal information, but she has access to all of my applications. She just doesn't know the passwords. So for whatever reason, I needed to revoke access. It's easy to do that at any time. So that's kind of one way. There's another application that we use called Hubstaff. And so we pay our virtual assistant hourly, and Hubstaff is an application that helps track hours. And so the application is really robust. We don't use all of it, but for just one user or a couple users on it, it's a really affordable application. And so she clocks in and out using this application. And so when she starts a task and she starts maybe editing the podcast, she'll clock in as she's editing the podcast. If she is doing some other virtual assistant tasks for our real estate side of our business, she'll clock in as doing those tasks. And I can see where she's spending her time, when she got on and off. And then what the application does, it's designed for tracking remote workers. And so it actually takes screenshots, so many screenshots every 10 minutes, of her computer and it shows me what she's working on. And all that is just checks and balances. It's just keeping her accountable. It's keeping me accountable. It's just making sure that we are doing the right things. It's trust but verify, just like with any employee. And so once you have these systems in place, it's a lot easier to make sure, okay, are we headed in the right direction? The application even tells me how active she was on her computer. And so, if for whatever reason she clocked in 5 or 6 or 10 hours, but she was only 20% active, then it shows me, oh, you were only at your computer 20% of the time. What happened? What was going on? That's never happened to me, but I like to know that I have that information available, and it has been really helpful, and it's helped me bring up things. Hey, I saw that, you were only active 60% of the time. What was going on? Were you downloading something, and was the internet slow, or what was going on? And we can troubleshoot the problems. Other than that, some really, low-hanging fruit ways to manage is just to communicate. And so we have a standing meeting every Wednesday, and so we go over current things in the business every single Wednesday. So we go over current things in the business. I ask her if there's anything I can do to help her in her role better. And then I ask her, hey, is there anything that we can change to make your job easier? And so it's always about reevaluating, how are we operating? Is this the highest and best use of all of our time? Do you have the information that you need to do your job correctly? And it's just a good way to catch up for 20, 30, 40 minutes, however long that meeting takes, and to just get to hear about each other's lives and just build those relationships and build that trust. And the more I've been able to build trust with her, the more I've been able to rely and trust her and give her more responsibility. And so, in a nutshell, that's how we've done. That's how we've done it. That's how I've done it. Like I said, I couldn't imagine not having her in the business now at this point. She does so much for our business, and it was a mindset shift. And so once I started delegating those tasks that I was doing, it freed up my brain to think of, okay, now what are other things that we can add into our business that would be beneficial to our business that I did not have the capacity to before? And ideas just started coming to me, and I would just jot them down. I would implement them into our business. I would implement them into our systems. I would do the training on it, get it to Ruby, and then boom, I'm done with it. And now it's something that's ongoing and active in our business. And now she's at the point where she's doing, like I said, 20 to 25 hours a week pretty easily of stuff for us in our business. And so we email probably every day because she's working on stuff every day, and we're collaborating on stuff. And it's been really empowering experience. And so it's freed me up to continually think of, okay, what are more things that I can delegate so that way I can elevate my time and continue to grow the business. And so that's really what it's about. It's about buying back your time so that you can go and do the $100 per hour tasks or the $1,000 per hour tasks. And you can, offload the lower dollar per hour tasks. And so I would encourage you, think about that for your business. Even if you're a small business, don't have those limiting beliefs of, that's only for big businesses. No, it's not. I know all sorts of people now that have a virtual assistant or maybe 2 virtual assistants, and they're just small companies. But it's a great way for small companies to start to scale. It's a great way for you to buy back your time. It's a great way for you to get a little bit of time freedom. And I think if you can build those strong relationships and you can hang in there to train your virtual assistant and, build that trust, it's going to be a game changer. I didn't even talk about the email management stuff. That was another huge thing that she took off my plate. And that was a big game changer as well. And I don't have time to go into it today. But all that to say is VAs can really help you buy back your time. These were some of the tactical applications, strategies, things that I did in my business when I hired our first virtual assistant. And so I'd encourage you to check it out. Again, if you wanted to check out that website where I hired my first VA, hiretrainva.com. We had the owner of that company on our podcast, so you can go back and search the Reinvest podcast, hiretrainva.com. That podcast will probably pop up. And that was a great episode to talk about, hey, what does it look like practically to hire on the worldwide market and to look at all these areas globally, and super great resource that way. So anyway, all I'd say is it's good to be back in the studio. Thanks for listening this week, guys, and we will be back next week with a great interview, and we're looking forward to it. Have a good one.
As always, excited that you joined us for another episode of the Reinvest Podcast. If you want to learn how you can use your hard-earned capital to diversify into real estate, go to our website, reinvestcapital.us, and shoot us a message. Move farther, reach higher, and grow deeper.